Am I the a-hole for going no contact with my mom after she lied to me and disrupted a special trip I planned for my wife? This is going to be a long one, but I need to finally get this off my chest. I'm a 35-year-old man, married, and a father to a wonderful son who has special needs. Life isn't always easy, but we do our best to stay grounded and focused. Recently, we enrolled our son in a specialized school that's been a game changer for his development. He's thriving more than we've ever seen before, but it comes at a high cost. Financially, things have become tighter than usual, but we manage. We make sacrifices, we adjust, and we make it work for him. But this story isn't about my son. It's about my mom. My relationship with her has always been complicated, to put it mildly. Growing up, she never really acted like a mother. Instead, she treated me more like her personal therapist. From as far back as I can remember, I was her emotional sounding board. She'd vent constantly about work, friends, extended family, but most of all, about my dad. She'd call him weak, say he was a failure, and tell me he was the reason she was so unhappy. Her bitterness was palpable, and it bled into everything. She never moved on from her ex-boyfriend who passed away in a tragic car accident years before I was born. That grief, unresolved and festering, seemed to poison every relationship she had, including the one with her husband and the one with me. She often made comments like, "Any other woman would have left him, but I stayed for you." Those words haunted me. She wanted praise for enduring a life she clearly resented. As a result, I became the classic people pleaser, constantly anxious, hyper-aware of other people's moods, and always trying to fix things that weren't mine to fix. I spent years putting everyone else before myself, even when it chipped away at my own sense of worth. My mom is originally from an Asian country and moved overseas, where I was born and raised. Despite living in the West for decades, she never truly let go of the belief that family should sacrifice everything for each other, her definition of family, where she always comes first. She was raised in wealth, and that spoiled entitlement still lingers in everything she does. When I started dating my now wife, she went out of her way to be kind to my mom. She really tried. But my mom wasn't having it. She didn't like that someone else was taking my attention, my time, or, God forbid, my loyalty. When I was 22, she actually staged an intervention with extended family because I wasn't coming home enough. It was surreal. She cried, yelled, and accused me of abandoning her. Over what? Spending weekends with my girlfriend. Fast forward to now. Her brother, my uncle, was seriously ill, and she and my dad wanted to fly back to their home country to see him one last time. They didn't have the funds for the tickets, so my dad called me, clearly embarrassed, and asked for help. I didn't hesitate. I lent them the money because I knew they might not get another chance to say goodbye. On top of that, they asked if I could look after their dog while they were gone. I agreed, with one clear condition. I told them I had a special birthday trip planned for my wife and son, a rare getaway we'd been saving for and looking forward to, and they needed to be back before then. The trip was 3 weeks away, so it felt reasonable. My dad promised they'd return in time. I reminded them several times, including at the airport drop-off. A week into their trip, my mom called and casually told me they'd be delaying their return by 2 more weeks. Just like that. No apology. No discussion. I asked why, and she said, "There are no flights." I pushed back, saying, "Are you sure? There must be some options," and she snapped, saying they'd already booked their new flight, and it was out of her hands. No room for compromise. No concern for the plans she knew we had. I was furious and felt completely disrespected. I called my dad, thinking maybe I could reason with him. But when I explained how I felt betrayed and lied to, he said, "I don't remember any of that." That stung. It felt like gaslighting. Like everything I said and felt just didn't matter. I hung up. They didn't contact me for nearly a month after that. When they finally came back, my mom called to explain. But there was no accountability. No remorse. Just justification. I told her I didn't want to hear excuses. They had made their choice, and it had consequences. That's when she burst into tears and screamed, "Do you want us to move out?" Now, here's an important detail. My wife and I own the apartment my parents live in. 10 years ago, when their landlord asked them to move out, it was my wife's idea to help them. We purchased a unit big enough for all of us to live in, and we've been covering the bulk of the mortgage ever since. They pay a small amount in rent, barely enough to cover utilities. So no, I didn't want them to move out. I just wanted respect, consideration, some sense that we mattered too. But that conversation made it clear we were never going to get that. I ended the call and haven't spoken to them since. The last few months have been peaceful, quiet. For the first time in a long time, there's been no drama, no guilt, no manipulation. My wife and I feel like we can actually breathe. We've spent more time focusing on our son, on each other, and on creating the kind of family environment we always wanted.
But of course, it didn't last.
My sister messaged me recently, saying she doesn't understand why I'm doing this, that I'm being ungrateful after everything our parents have done for us. I calmly explained everything. Not just the recent incident, but years, decades of emotional manipulation, guilt trips, and being treated like I owe them my entire life. I told her that this wasn't about punishing anyone, but about protecting my peace, my family. Her response? You need to stop bringing up the past. So now I'm here, wondering if I really am the bad guy for setting a boundary that I should have enforced years ago. Am I the a-hole for going no contact with my mom after she lied and disrupted something special I planned for my wife and child?